question is kind of interesting thing here. What do you do when your partner is too selfless? They do too much for the children. They do more than maybe they should. They become overburdened and stressed because of it. And then you find yourself doing things beyond your own safe or healthy boundaries. And you're doing this for your partner, but then, so that they're not stressed, but then I become stressed.
Very good question. One thing is that we, in a family, there's always a teamship that develops or should develop because everyone is doing their part in the team. It's like within any type of organization or grouping or business or something like that. There's so many duties that have to be performed. At the same time, we all have personal needs, okay? Spiritual needs, emotional needs, mental health needs, physical needs. All these things are there. One of the things that we do in our family is we have regular family meetings. Usually we try to have them every week, but that doesn't always happen. But what it does is it allows us to share how things are going, the systems that we've set up, and how we work together. How can we improve, or if anyone needs more support than another, how we can balance off each other in that way. And sometimes there's times where one of us has more of a burden on us, and we can support that person, and so on. So communication is a key part of it, and also self-awareness and understanding that that you are part of a team. And when you have that open communication, then you can see where the needs are, and maybe for this week I can take on a little bit more than I usually take on because someone else really needs that support. So the key aspect is ongoing, open, honest communication in the teamship.
Yes, and the point that Jagannatha Pandit mentioned about self-awareness, I feel is critical. One thing that Mother Archana and Karnamrita Prabhu emphasize a lot is understanding what our motivations are for the things that we do. And as you know, Karnamrita Prabhu dedicated his life, and particularly in the last years, to chronicling his process of unfoldment. And one of the things that he boldly talked about in a very raw and detailed way is things that informed his behavior, his upbringing, and his parents' relationship, and his conditioning, and areas of strength, and different tools that he utilized in the Bhakti process. And a tool that Archana and Karnam also educated, I know, me on, something I didn't know much about, is the Enneagram. And that's a body of education that helps us to understand what our motivations are and how that's reflected in our personalities and our interactions with others. So I'm a Enneagram 2, and Enneagram 2 are the helpers. And something Karnam emphasizes, when you're understanding your conditioning, it helps you with working on your anarthas because you're understanding how your body's conditioned. So the 2, who's the helper, is kind of like the type that this person who asked the question is probably talking about. The person who gets a lot of satisfaction from helping and serving and thinking of other people and overdoing and over worrying about the children and thinking about the neighbors. And those are really good qualities to have, particularly as a spiritualist, because you do want to be someone who's focused on serving others. But what I hear in the question is something that I have to caution myself about on a lot of different levels. Number one, overly being like that can help you really not be attuned to your self-care and your own needs, which then can put a burden on other people. And it also, because we dive deeper in Krishna consciousness, it can also have like a lot of like false ego stuff with it. So it like looks really good because you are helping others, and it is good when you help others. But sometimes what happens, particularly with twos, is you get really attached to people reciprocating that and people noticing it. If they don't notice, you kind of like think you're a bad person. There's like so much that can be there, that as one looks carefully at those motivations, you can see how to give in a way that serves everyone, serves yourself, serves your family, and serves others. So I think the point that Jagannatha Pandit was saying about communication is really important. And again, how can we each use the many tools that we have been made aware of and that we can learn more about to do self-exploration, to see how we can let go of things. So we're not just in automatic patterns. Based on our conditioning from lifetimes, we have a lot of automatic patterns. So the more we can look at any of our automatic patterns and try to address it, the more we can make progress. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts.
Great. Thank you. Thank you both. I think that was terrific.